Hey everybody, it is episode 24 of Unedited. So glad that you guys are here. I'm Ethan, that's Jordan.
Yes.
Want to get into it?
Let's do it.
What do you want to get into?
I don't know. Whatever you have for us.
Let's get into the grit of it.
Okay.
The nitty gritty.
All right.
What we're going to do is we're going to parlay today.
All right.
And then we're going to get into the neighborhood. And then we're going to do How About You? That's your feedback time. So very excited for today. I think we've got lots of good stuff to talk about, particularly because it is November.
Yes.
We're deep in November. Like, basically, if you're listening to this any time later than 2 days after it comes out, it's December. And you know what that means?
That means Christmas is here before we know it.
Christmas cuddles.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just around the corner.
It's
We're so
happening.
excited. Me and Jordan are big Christmas guys. And last week, you guys started talking about Christmas a little bit as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to just keep it up. First of all, if you don't like Christmas, just go ahead and message us because I would like to talk to you about that and figure out why. But if you don't like Christmas, hold on because there is non-Christmas stuff in this episode. And just because Jordan and I are big Christmas fiends doesn't mean that you have to like dip out on these episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Okay, so we're going to parlay about a Christmas thing. So here is Parley.
Parlay.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum.
Christmas edition.
Here we go.
Me and you talk about this one quite a bit.
We do.
And so I want to see what we get into when we talk about it in front of a camera with microphones.
Okay.
And I want to see if we actually get like feisty about it or if we're just happy about it together.
Okay.
Before you
we're
even
about to
know,
find out.
I mean, you know the subject, but do you think we're going to get feisty or just be happy?
I think we'll probably be happy.
Really?
I do.
All right.
I think so.
I've determined to make it not so.
Okay.
We're going to parlay our top 5 Christmas movies.
Yes.
So while we're doing this, you guys put your comments, listeners and watchers, put your comments in, your top 5 as well, because I really want to see what other people's are. I'm
actually
always curious.
Me too.
Yeah.
And it might give us an idea of something that maybe somewhere I've missed. Like I'm
Yep.
convinced I haven't missed anything because I watch so many of these things, but there's always new ones that kind of come up on your radar, and there's always debates about these things too.
Yeah, definitely.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, I was even just looking through to make this list, and I was trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything that would be like, you know, I don't know. Imagine that I made my list and I just missed the one that's actually my favorite just because I forgot about it or something.
Yeah.
And looking through, there's like so many Christmas movies that are classics.
Yes.
Let alone just all the Christmas movies in general.
Agreed.
So I'm like, who likes these?
Yeah.
Like, who's out there just being like, I love a Christmas Prince or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
If you're watching or listening and you do, like, let us know, because otherwise I have no idea who's watching these, who's into it.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you have any hallmarks on your list, by the way?
I actually do not.
Okay, I don't either, so we can get this out of the way right
Yes.
away.
Okay.
But have you ever like turned to like the W Network and
Dude.
like during this time of year and saw like just nonstop Christmas movies?
Dude, I am a sucker for a trashy Hallmark movie. I'm not even joking.
And I'll turn there and sit there and spend time on one too sometimes.
Yeah.
So I could actually feel I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
So.
And then there's like these Netflix originals that have come out in the last several years that
Yes.
are like, they're just Hallmark movies, but they're Netflix. And sometimes, dude, I'm not like, especially if Alyssa and I have time off and it's just like a day to kill or something, which is, we try to book some time off, which is days to kill during Christmas time. It's like, let's just throw in one of those. You
Absolutely.
know? It doesn't even matter which one.
Yeah.
You know that it's going to be, some person arrives into the small town.
Yeah.
There's a bakery or like a newspaper or something.
If you walk out of the room and you come back, you just need to ask, did the storm happen yet?
Yeah.
Or like,
exactly.
do you know what I mean? Like you got to figure out there seems to be a plot line with these things.
Yeah, in
right?
the order of things. Yeah. Did the big reveal happen where the romantic love interest is no longer trusted?
Yes. Is she confused yet? Like, you know, or is he confused yet?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, did they pick up the wrong thing or like what happened?
Are we in head over heels or still the resistant territory here? Or like when does because it's always what happens, right? It's like resistant at first, head over heels, big trust break, resolution. Every time. Same thing.
And resolutions often, not only is there like a coming together, but there's also usually like business successful or something happened, right?
That's right. That's right.
Something came into fruition.
Hey, your lumberjack company that's chopping down all the trees in my neighborhood, you can actually help me sell more books.
There you go.
It's like somehow, you know what I mean?
You need
Evil CEO from New York.
You need
to
produce one of these, I think.
I have.
Yeah.
I've got to deal with Netflix.
You just use a different name?
Yeah, I use the name Benedict Humperdinck.
Okay.
And if you ever see that as a producer director title,
that's who you are.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll keep my eyes open for it.
Do you remember what's that movie called? Humperdinck is from it. That's the name of an antagonist in it, with Wesley, the Dread Pirate Roberts.
I thought you were going to say Wesley Snipes for a
second. As you wish.
I was like, this is getting even better.
Dude, people that are hearing me say these things know exactly what I'm saying, but they...
Princess Bride?
Yes.
There you go.
You can stop shouting at your phone or whatever now. Yeah, Princess Bride. Yes. His name was Humperdinck.
Okay.
So I stole that for my producing titles, for my producing tags.
As you should.
In Netflix movies. Okay, why don't we get to the top 5, all right?
Okay.
I'm happy that we both are on the same page that we could get into a trashy Hallmark movie, though.
Yes.
I think that's nice.
Yeah.
You want to, hold hands over that?
You know what? Maybe just for a minute.
Oh,
here we go.
Nice.
Okay, give me my hand back.
Thank you. Okay, so we have top 5s. I don't have mine ranked. Do you have yours ranked?
Loosely.
Okay. Well, I could loosely rank mine.
The list is fluid.
Ooh.
Sorry, I wanted to pull a Stephen A. reference there. So.
Okay. I don't know who that is or what you're referencing,
He's a sports
but I like
guy.
that you said it.
His name's Stephen A. And he does every week he does a list called the A list.
Okay.
And he comes out there. He talks about the top 5 teams in football. Yeah. And he always says, the list is fluid. The list is fluid. The list is fluid. Basically, he doesn't want to set himself up to look to look dead wrong 3 weeks later.
Stephen A. to look like an A. He doesn't want to
Stephen A. Smith. Yeah.
Okay.
Check him out. You might like him actually. He's very opinionated.
His name is A. Smith. Okay.
Stephen A. Smith. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Stephen A. list.
Sounds very Canadian.
ESPN.
Lots of A's in there.
ESPN.
So. ESPN. Is that Canadian?
No. TSN's Canadian.
All right. Sounds good. So, sports. Why don't we go through? Let's start at our 5. Me and you.
All right.
You go first. I'll tell you my 5, and we can just.
Okay, I'll start with could be my number 1, but my number 1's tough between 2.
You're supposed to start with number 5. Start with your lowest
5,
one.
My
right?
lowest.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you good with that?
Yeah, I am good with that. Okay, so my lowest one.
Because I was thinking that, and then you're like, okay, I'll start with number 1. I was like, wait, what?
Ooh, the lowest one's the hardest because you're always trying to figure out what to include in this list, right?
Yes.
So if I had to pick a number 5, and this is very sentimental, I will probably, it's tough. I'll probably take A Christmas Carol. The Alistair Sim version, the black and white one that's shown on Christmas Eve. Yeah.
Wow.
And I throw it out there because my dad always watched it every year at Christmas time, and I would try to stay up with him when I was younger, and it's tough because it ends at 1:30 a.m.
Yeah.
But now I do it. Now I watch it, and I enjoy it. And I don't know, the story of Scrooge, it's been done many times. There's lots of good versions out there. Actually, Apple did a great version a couple years ago with Will Ferrell and was it Ryan Reynolds with him?
A Christmas Carol?
Yeah, they redid it, and they did a musical. I think it was called Spirited. That's it. Yeah, I'm looking at producer Ashley.
But it was
I watched it with
musical,
her, actually.
It was a musical comedy.
It was, yeah. But it was the retelling kind of the Christmas story.
Yeah.
And Christmas Carol, sorry. And I definitely like it. It's one of those traditional things I go back to. If they ever do it in play version, I'll usually try to be in the audience and check it out. That's one of them.
Interesting.
Number 5. Number 5's the hardest for me, though. It gets easier from here on in.
It is a tough one. Because I would say that number 5 for me has got to be Frosty the Snowman.
Okay.
And
the cartoon?
That could jump up to 3rd for me, but I feel like 5 right now. I'm going to put it at 5.
Okay.
Yeah, the cartoon.
Did you watch it growing up?
Oh, dude, every Christmas. That's why it's up there. It's because it's just nostalgia.
That's awesome. My girls love that stuff too.
Yeah.
And
the songs get stuck in my head every year.
Definitely.
Every year, it's always another Frosty song stuck in my head and stuff. I mean, it's mostly just that one big song, but
No, it's good. It's good. I like that one. Actually, that's a great pick.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
So you respect the game.
I do respect it. Yeah.
Okay. So we both respect each other so far.
So far.
Okay. Because we both picked some pretty deep classics here.
Yeah. Number 4, though, we're getting into the heavy hitters.
There's going to be some weeping and gnashing of teeth up in this piece.
We're going to get into this one.
Okay. So you
ready
go
for
first. Number 4. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do this one just to start a little discussion.
Wow.
Home Alone 2.
In 4th?
In 4th.
Are you insane?
In 4th. It's 4th on the list.
If that's not number 1 or number 2, you're nuts. Okay?
It's 4th on the list. Okay?
Number 4?
Number 4.
Wow.
Number 4 is still a very high placement here. I'm talking of a list of 50 to choose from here.
I mean, you do. Yeah, I would imagine that you have a longer memory of Christmas movies than me in terms of actually having watched more and remembering them.
Yeah.
You're just better at that stuff.
And I always lump these two together, but just for argument's sake, I'll pick number 2.
Wow.
As my fourth. And do you like these movies?
Dude, I love those movies.
Of course you do.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
Me and my family, my siblings, we were introduced to Home Alone on Home Alone 3.
Okay.
It was the first Home Alone we watched.
That's hilarious.
So I think Home Alone 1 and 2, because of so I was the youngest of my family, so my siblings wouldn't have been old enough, but there's some sort of scary situations in terms of when I was so young. And so we didn't watch them. But then when we watched one, I think much to the chagrin of my father, even the first one we watched was the third one. So we loved it because I was like, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
And then later I watched 1 and 2 and I was like, these are infinitely better.
Yes, they are.
And 3 is the last step before the whole series fell off entirely.
Yeah.
So 1 and 2 are S tier. I would say 3, probably because of subjective enjoyment of it, would be A tier. And everything else jumps down to D, E, F.
Nothing was very good. And Disney did a remake, I think, 2 years ago.
Yeah, you and Yasmin watched it.
Yeah, where they brought back some of the old characters. And honestly, it wasn't bad, but it still wasn't great. It wasn't it's not something I've watched again since.
Yeah.
So, but Home Alone 2, I don't know. I it's more devious. The stunts are a little crazier.
Yeah, dude.
They're over the top, really.
He's killing people.
Yeah, there's no reason these guys should have ever lived through any of those things, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they both have a similar storyline. They both have a character that Kevin draws into relationship with, who's sort of outcasted. Mm-hmm. And in the first one, it's the older gentleman. In the second one, it's the lady with the birds.
Spoilers.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not trying to throw us all out there.
I haven't watched this movie in the last.
But I don't know. I just found
I
found New York a better setting for it to an extent. But then there's a side of me that kind of likes the original because it's tough to get away from the first one you've seen. So I don't know. I watched the original this past week, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
I saved those till a little bit closer to Christmas. But we used to, the people who listen and watch this podcast have heard me say this before, but we used to watch it every year at youth. Mm-hmm. And now this year, I think we're breaking that out to a youth leaders party. Okay. So it's going to be just the youth leaders because they would be the people who remember the tradition.
Yes.
The youth are like, why do we care about this 90s Christmas movie? What is this? Yeah.
It's aged so good though, as far as it's still quite popular to an extent, right?
Yep.
So, and you're making me want to check out 3 now because it's been forever. I can't even really remember the plot line.
It's not bad. The whole plot line is it's like spies.
Okay.
And this kid gets his remote control car has a microchip in it that wasn't supposed to be in it. They're trying to smuggle a microchip.
Yeah.
And then they find out that this kid got this toy car by accident. And he doesn't know why they're doing it or whatever, but he protects his house.
Yeah. Interesting.
And it's very aughts, hey?
Yeah.
The whole theming, the music and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably why.
I have the soundtrack. Actually, I have it on vinyl. I have 2 of them.
The third?
No, the first 2. Sorry, okay. I thought we were still talking about the first 2.
No,
but John Williams
I'm talking about the third.
John Williams' soundtrack is amazing. That kind of music just brings a little joy to my life whenever I hear it.
Classic.
So it snowed really, really hard on Saturday night, and I decided that the best thing you can do when it snows is go for a walk. So I just wanted to get get some steps. Yeah. So I went out. I took my my speaker with me, and I just played Christmas tunes because it felt like a Christmas tunes kind of walk, eh?
Yep.
But the first song that came on was the main theme from Home Alone on my playlist. And I'm like, this is perfect. I got snow coming down. Yeah. I got snow coming down. And then somewhere in my walk, the last song came on, like when mom comes home, and then it's like this thing. Yeah, exactly. Classic. And I'm like, this is perfect music to be walking in a snowstorm. So.
Yeah.
It was good.
You know what? The end of the Home Alone movie, The Grinch with Jim Carrey, kind of stole part of it, I think, because there's that song that they do where he sings, Christmas, Christmas, Christmas.
Yeah.
And also John Williams did the score for the first Harry Potter movie, at least. He did more of them, too, but other people got in on that action. But very similar.
Yeah.
You listen to Home Alone.
Yeah.
And then you listen to Harry Potter. And the same era, too.
Yeah.
It's John Williams... You could probably criticize him that way. We've talked about this before. Let's not talk about it again.
We've gone down this road.
Okay, all right.
Number 4 for you.
You had Home Alone 2. My screen shut off. My number 4, I think, would have to be... you see, this one's tough, actually. I think it would have to be The Grinch with Jim Carrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that pick, actually, because I find that one doesn't get a lot of love out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But like it's even
it used to get a lot of love.
It did.
But I feel like just recently it's kind of fallen off.
It has,
popularity.
Yeah. It's got a little spookiness to it though and stuff. Like he, the way he plays the character, I find a little unique. And I don't know, that's one I'm going to add to the list now this year. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah. So when's the last time you watched it?
It's been a few years. Probably, I'd say about 5 or 6 years.
Wow. Yeah. Long overdue.
It's been a little bit. Yeah.
So get in there.
I'm gonna
get in there and
Is it your favorite Grinch?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the original is like it's so short. It's hard to, but it's a classic. So that would be like the GOAT, I think.
Did you watch like the animated one a couple years ago?
Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah. That one was funny. Actually, I should rewatch that this year because I was like, whatever. I don't care that they redid a Grinch. I like the Grinch that I have already. Yeah. And then I watched it and I was like, you know what? It's kind of funny. And what's his name from SNL was there? Is it Kenan Thompson? Is that his name?
Yeah.
And when he came up, like his voice came up, and I just immediately recognized it. And I was like, love it, man. Love that he's in here. So
yeah, that one I can't miss every Christmas because my daughters will watch it on loop.
Wow.
So they'll just like Grinch, right? They just really liked it. So
man, having kids is just like such a good way to ruin stuff for yourself.
That's why I'm not introducing them to the classics yet. I don't need those playing on repeat like that.
Yeah. You don't want them to. Yeah. Although if you don't get those classics in, they're not going to be part of their formative memories soon. So it's a tough. Like, what's the balance here?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. Jordan, dilemma.
We're getting there. We're
getting a bit of a conundrum here.
A little bit.
Could you tell the listeners and watchers how you plan to deal with this?
Get back to you in a year or so.
You're like, I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so number 3. What's your number 3?
All right, this is when we get into the nitty gritty. These ones are all like, this is like difficult to separate these ones. Okay,
big time.
But I'm going to just throw this one out there. My third favorite Christmas movie is It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
And I love the story. I love the funny thing about this one is it wasn't even set to be a Christmas movie. It was set at Christmas time.
Yeah.
But when it originally showed on TV, or I think it was straight to TV, or it bombed. Like it didn't do well.
Yeah.
And it's one of these ones that was loved and celebrated much later.
Yeah.
And kind of came
Big
back.
Classic.
And I've seen this performed twice at the Persephone Theater here in the city. I saw it 7 years ago where they actually did the full play.
Wow.
And then a couple of years ago where they did like a radio version of it where like they all had like radio mics in front of them.
Okay.
And they told the story through the radio.
Wow.
And like us, the audience, got to watch that go down. But just the whole story's always brought a warmth to me. It's one of those things I look forward to. Yeah. I have watched it in color because you can watch it in color, but I prefer to watch the black and white. It's
I don't know that I've seen it in color.
Yeah, the DVD set that came out gave a colored version.
Oh,
so yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would even want to do that, to be honest.
I know, it kind of messes with it. It's like listening to the Beatles in stereo. I prefer mono.
Really?
I want to hear what it sounds like, right? Like what they originally intended.
Yeah.
So
interesting. I never thought about that before because I always just listen to the Beatles however Spotify plays them.
And that'd be stereo. They probably put the nicer sounds on.
Boom.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the only way I've really listened to the Beatles then. I think my brother had Abbey Road vinyl that I would have listened to that when I was a teenager, but
probably doing mono at that point. Yeah, I would think.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe not though. It's tough. Oh, if it was original, yeah, it would have
been. On a vinyl? No, I don't think it was original.
Okay.
Well, I have no idea.
Okay.
But I'm imagining that an Abbey Road vinyl wouldn't have been within his means of acquiring.
Not to get too deep into this, but when they reissued all those things back in like 2000, I don't know, 6, 7.
Yeah.
There was a lot of debate about that because they remastered them all.
Oh.
And I remember walking into music stores, like even like HMV, and like the person behind the till saying like, this isn't how they intended people to hear this stuff, kind of thing, right?
Interesting.
And part of me was like, I get that, but at the same time, if we could, bring a fuller sound to it, I'm all for that too.
Yeah.
So I'm not like one or the other. I'll listen to it all. But
yeah. I've definitely had some albums over the years where I've wanted them to do some remastering just because the mix at the time was great or whatever, but then you listen and you're like, this is really tinny.
This can use a little
grating,
Yeah. So black and white, I don't know. Like I do think the classics, you do want to see them in their original form, but I understand why they probably gave the option because maybe for a younger generation, maybe they prefer seeing color because that's what they're used to, right? So.
You know what was really cool, black and white, by the way? I just watched Oppenheimer. That was cool use of black and white, but also
very
Dune 2.
Yeah.
Have you seen Dune 2?
I haven't.
Jordan, come on. They shot it in infrared. Certain sections, I mean. And so infrared gives off a very unique black and white, right? Like it's not like anyway, quite interesting. But Oppenheimer and Dune 2, two great movies from within a year of each other. So,
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, so yours was A Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, yeah.
Love it. You know, I didn't put that on my list, even though I thought about it. And the reason is because I love the movie.
Yeah.
I was trying to pick movies where I'm like, I'm going to watch them this year, and I'll watch them next year. I don't watch It's a Wonderful Life every year.
I do.
I might watch it every few years.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that I'm saturated enough with it.
Yeah.
Like it's a very dense, like it's kind of like a big heavy meal, and I kind of just need some time to digest it and give it a break.
I think it is too. Yeah. 100%.
But I could see why you'd watch it every year.
Yeah. I enjoy it. Yeah, it's definitely in the list for me. What's your 3?
How about I tell you my number 3? Are you ready for it?
Hit me.
I just have to decide which one it is. Now I'm debating whether I put the Grinch in the right position, but I'll say the Santa Claus.
Oh, Tim Allen.
With Tim Allen. The original.
Okay.
Yeah. That is, I just rewatched that. The first day it was snowing. Actually, my wife and I watched it together.
Yeah, was it awesome?
And yeah, dude, and it's just so like of its time.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. You know, Tim Allen was like the classic like 90s dad.
Yeah.
So then it was in terms of on TV and stuff, right? And so, you know, watching him doing his thing, and he's got a shtick, and it's cheesy and it's out of date, but it's like, yeah, you know.
I could appreciate
Tim Allen. And the goofiness of it all, the lightheartedness, but then there's still a lot of those really core Christmas things in it.
Yeah.
And you even see like the weird, like I think that movie was late 90s that came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you see introduction of some like really sloppy, low budget CGI and stuff. And it's just like fun.
Yeah. My wife loves that movie too. I think like out of the 3 of them, that's obviously the best. The other 2 were okay, but they didn't quite hit
I think there might be 4 now.
The heights. There might be, yeah. Tim Allen, though he had a little bit of a Christmas career there. Is that the only Tim Allen movie on your list?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, because I'll bring this one up. That could have been my number 5.
Okay.
And this is one I grew into because I didn't like it as much at first, but he does Christmas with the Cranks as well.
You know what? That one is too recent for me, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm realizing that all of my movies are of a certain age.
Yes.
That movie came out in the late aughts.
Yeah.
And I feel like when it came out, I was like, oh, this is a new Christmas movie.
Yes.
And in my mind, I had a stigma against. And do you ever realize that that's 20 years ago or whatever now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's wild.
But it's
I saw it in college. Yeah.
At the time, I was like, this is a new one. They're trying to do a new.
It's got to take time.
I don't care.
It's got to take time.
Yeah, but you know what? It was good though.
It is.
It was fun.
Yeah, I like it.
It's goofy.
I like it even more so because Zara really likes it. So like I get a kick watching it with her.
Yeah.
And there's a couple classic lines in there actually. Like it turned out a lot better than I gave it credit for. Because I remember going to the theater in college thinking, oh, that was okay, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't too bad, I guess, right? But it wasn't like anything I thought that I was going to be talking about, in 2024, right?
Yeah.
So
I always think about the whole, black is supposed to make you look lighter.
Yeah.
So I always think about that all the time.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay. So number 2. What's your number 2?
All right. Number 2. This again, tough debate, but I'm going to have to say it's Christmas Vacation. Chevy Chase, National Lampoons.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Love that one. I watch it every Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. So it's tradition on Christmas Eve. Again, this is another one that me and my dad used to like to watch. It's funny. It's got it's
outrageous
gimmicks.
Yep.
I got a couple like ornaments around the house that pertain to this movie. I even have a shirt. I should have worn it today. I wasn't even thinking about this, right?
Nice.
So, but I got a Christmas Vacation shirt. I bought.
Have you got the moose mugs?
Yes, but
really?
Not the mugs. I have them as ornaments. They're on the tree.
Okay.
So, but they still look the same way.
Dan Murphy had the moose mugs.
Did he?
And when he had me to come over to watch it for the first time ever, I watched that for the first time when I was like,
was he a big fan?
I was like 19 or something. He loved it.
I didn't know that.
And he was like, we have to watch it. And then he was like my pastoral mentor for my pastoral internship.
Yeah.
And like as I go over to watch it, he's like, just so you know, there's a few things in there that aren't entirely appropriate, but it's like a little disclaimer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But dude, first time I watched it, I was like 19. It was great.
Yeah.
Loved it. We drank eggnog out of the moose mugs while we watched it.
As you should.
As one should.
I love that. Yeah.
Yes, as you ought.
Yeah, Cousin Eddie is a hoot when he shows up in the movie. The movie really takes off at that point, right? Mm-hmm. So, but no, that's just a big one. I didn't I watched it a little bit, I guess, in the 90s, but I kind of fully got into it in the early 2000s.
That is the best out of Chevy Chase's. Like he did all of these lampoons.
And don't even watch the other ones. Are
Camping Story.
Yeah.
That what was that camping one with? Was it Chris Farley was in it too?
I can't remember. He had Summer Vacation. He had Vegas Vacation. There was a whole bunch of them. I've seen like minutes
just
of each of them. I've tuned into like like the whatever the channel that shows those old movies.
Yeah.
CMC or I forget what it's called, but ACM.
Yeah.
But
AMC.
yeah, I never I never like watch it more than 5 minutes. I'm like, no, these just don't really do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't disrespect anybody who has a soft spot for them because again, it's like a TV show that's like of a time, and you might
your
watch
favorite
it with
movies
nostalgia.
here.
Yeah, exactly. Not trying to yuck your yum, but I find them obnoxious. So that's the only one that like stands out to me as like one that's actually funny through and through.
Agreed.
Okay, my number 3. Are we on number 3?
No, we're on 2.
On number 2. Okay,
yeah.
I just did 3. Okay, so number 2, A Muppets Christmas Carol.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that one is what. Yeah, Ashley likes it too. That one is one
Ashley.
that we grew up watching, and so it's very near and dear. And it's just like also the Muppets. I grew up watching the Muppets. Did you?
I didn't. No.
Oh,
no,
well then it's not going to be good for you.
I was a little too WWF back in the day.
If you,
so as a kid, we liked to wrestle. So
I love the Muppets in general. Like I grew up on the Muppets. If you didn't grow up on them, I don't expect that you're going to like much Muppets stuff in general. But A Muppets Christmas Carol is just a classic, especially for my family. So Ashley says...
I love the Love Is Gone song. That's one thing I will contribute to this discussion.
The Love Is Gone?
Yeah. What did producer Ashley say then?
Ashley said, I love the whole thing except for the Love Is Gone song. They took that out of the re-release. What is the Love Is Gone song?
This is facts.
Trying to remember... trying to remember. We watched it on VHS back in the day, so we would have heard the song, right, Ashley? Is that right?
Yeah, it would have been in there.
The old Scrooge. I'm just gonna try and read what she's writing while she's writing
song.
it. The old Scrooge song. The Love Is Gone.
This is a project for you today. You're gonna have to go on YouTube and check this out.
Oh, this is when. Okay, Ashley's just clarified. It's the song that his girlfriend, fiance, whatever, love interest sings to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I could see why you wouldn't like that part because it's very emotional.
Yeah.
A twinge of cringe, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that, Muppets Christmas Carol.
Awesome.
But so I like that you had the original Christmas Carol and I have like this deviant,
It's good though.
this what's the word I'm looking for? Abomination of the original Muppets.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's number 1, Jordan? Drop the number 1 on us.
Number 1 is easy. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
A Christmas Story.
Christmas Story.
Okay.
Big time.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's no movie, and I watched every Christmas day. I'm very
Gen X
specific on these times I watch these things,
yeah,
eh?
Yeah.
And when I watch that movie, it makes me, like, the movie was shot in simpler times and makes me long for simpler times. It gives me a nostalgia, like a warm fuzzy. Like there's something about like the way they live. And it's not even that the movie has that much crazy stuff going on, but just the whole scenes and the outdoor scenes, the indoor scenes, something about the, it's just, it makes me think, maybe simple, there's something too simple or something just to, enjoying each day for what it is.
Did you ever want a Red Ryder?
BB gun?
Yeah.
Kind of, but not really. I can't relate to Ralphie too much on that one. Did you?
I always wanted a Red Ryder because you could just like lever action, pump those BBs out.
Yeah.
We had BB guns, we had pellet rifles, pellet pistols, we had all sorts of stuff to mess around with. My dad had firearms, so like we grew up shooting 22s and stuff.
Okay.
But like from a young age, right? But
yeah.
The Red Ryder that he wants in that movie is just a very specific, timeless, fun plinking air rifle. So I've always appreciated that aspect of it where it's like, yeah, I've always wanted one of those too, So
and just that longing for that gift, right? Like you start off as a kid, because they focus on that the whole time.
Yeah.
And then when he gets it at the end, it's kind of like a pure joy mode.
And then he shoots his eye out.
He does almost, he almost shoots his eye out.
He hits the glasses.
So he does.
Spoilers, but I mean, if you haven't watched that yet.
Yeah. Check it out. It's good. They made a 2 last year.
Was that 40, 50, 60? How many years ago? I don't know what year it came out.
80s. And it bombed too when it came out.
Almost 50 years ago?
Yeah.
No, wait. 40?
Yeah.
40? Am I right?
Yeah, 40 or so.
It should be like
40 or so. They remade one. They made a new one last year, and it's only available on Crave.
Yeah.
And it's got some of the old characters, like Ralphie's in it.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And
Just leave it alone.
It was good, but it wasn't great again. Like, it came out 2 years ago. I watched it the year it came out, and I didn't go back to it last year. So again, right?
This is the thing, man. Just leave them. Just do something else.
Yeah.
Do something. I'm so sick of remakes right now, dude. Remake is...
Well, this was a new movie, but it just was like, they should have just left the idea.
Okay, remakes or sequels or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just drop it.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your one?
They want that money, though. Okay, so number one.
Yes. I know where you're going with this.
Do you?
Yeah.
Really?
I'll tell you if I was right.
Oh, well, you already know because of the crap I gave you for your choice.
See, it's number one.
Yeah. Number one is Home Alone.
Yeah.
And Home Alone 2.
There you go.
I put them together.
So do I. I kind of do. I said two to try to start a little fight, but and this is a worthy one pick. Like, again, this was hard putting it forward.
So
right?
good, man.
So that's why you chastised me.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. 4 is way too low. You should be ashamed of yourself. But I had to put 1 and 2 in the top place because it's so good.
Yeah.
It's at least right for now. You know,
these are movies that when I watch, I literally like just I don't like to talk during movies, but like I know almost every line.
Yeah.
At this point, right?
You're just sitting there saying all the lines.
Do you prefer the Wet Bandits or the Sticky Bandits?
Ooh. So that's a great question.
That is a good
What do you prefer?
I don't know. The Wet Bandits was a little too dark, so probably Sticky.
Really?
It's funny that he just put it on his glove and kind of it took some changes. But the Wet Bandits, like flooding every house,
definitely.
It's just intense and just like realizing what that would do to your basement and like the foundation of your home. Like,
and they're much more like murderous as the Wet Bandits, right? They're like, we're gonna kill this child.
Yeah.
And then as the Sticky Bandits, I mean, you see their ire, but like.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as like, let's go kill a kid, you know? Well, I mean, yeah, they're like, I'm going to get you, kid, like Joe Pesci or whatever. Is that his name? That's the guy, right?
Joe Pesci, yeah.
Yeah,
Joe Pesci.
Anyway.
When he calls himself the Sticky Bandits, I like how Joe Pesci looks at him and goes like, you're sick, man. You're really sick, right? That's one of my favorite lines of the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So
good,
there's
man.
always little one-liners from there. But no, good movie. Good movie. I thought, you know what? The movie we both didn't say that I thought maybe you were going to go for, and maybe you don't even like it.
Tell me.
Elf. None of us mentioned Elf by Will Ferrell.
No, I like Elf, but here's the thing.
do
I
I.
like the first half of Elf.
Okay.
Second half is honestly hard for me to get through.
My thing with Elf is that the first half is good.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too good. I knew you would like that one.
Good reference.
I knew you would like that one. And you said that to me. You said that to me after I spoke once or something, right? And like, and I remember you were joking about it, but like, it's funny that stood out to you because I think about that all the time too.
Dude,
it's a great reference, eh?
It's good.
It was good.
A little too good.
But you know, it's a little too good around here, right?
If you need me, contact me on my radio.
Yeah.
I love how intense he's getting
Let's
into it.
Let's stick together on this. Yeah. Yeah, they sent in the pros, right?
Like, see, that's the thing. I love all that stuff. At the end, when is it Zoe Deschanel? Is that her name?
Yeah, Jovi.
Jovi.
Her name's Jovi in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what does that have to do with okay.
You're like, what about your daughter?
Yeah. I don't like the ending is it's tough going, man.
Yeah.
I mean, the beginning, if they could have made the ending a little bit quicker, I get that they're trying they needed to resolve a lot of stuff they brought up, but it gets painful for me at the end.
My favorite
That's the reason it's not on my list, is just because I feel like the second half is always a little bit of a slog, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah. Couple new movies I'm just going to throw out quickly just for the listeners here. Last year, a movie came out called The Holdovers.
Ooh.
With Paul Giamatti. It was
Giamatti.
It was about a school where all the kids go home for Christmas, except for some who, for whatever reason, their parents couldn't bring them home.
Yep.
Have to stay at the school. And
like Harry Potter.
Maybe. So
he stays at the school.
And they become like the holdovers. And so Paul Giamatti is a professor who has to take care of them. Mm-hmm. And it's quite an interesting movie. It's based around the holidays, based around Christmas. That was good, and
it's nice to see
that stood out last year.
Paul Giamatti getting some contemporary roles outside of M. Night Shyamalan, because for a while that's all Paul Giamatti.
That's all he was.
Right?
Yeah, that's all he was getting.
Like,
yeah,
I'm here as a quirky guy in an M. Night movie.
I think he was nominated for Best Actor for this movie.
Really?
Yeah, he did a really good job at it, and it went over really well. And there's a couple of Christmas movies out this year. Red One, I do want to see. That's The Rock, and the Santa Claus movie that he's in. Have you seen the preview for it?
What is wrong with you?
I'm just gonna watch it for fun.
Why would you want to see that at all?
I
mean, okay. It's fun to
just
watch.
Just for kicks, yeah, just for kicks, right?
If you tell me you think it was good, though, I already know that it's not going to be good. So if you tell me it's going to be good, I'm going to lose it.
I'll watch it and I'll get back to you, okay? And I'll get back to you. But the best Christmas pageant ever I watched this year as well. We took the girls to the theater, and surprisingly, it was quite heartwarming. So
the best Christmas pageant ever.
Yeah, it's a book. I know Nick read it when she was in like elementary school, so a lot of elementary school kids read it.
Yeah.
And they made a movie based on it. It came out this year.
Okay, one more bad movie that I want to mention.
Okay, which one?
One more.
Gremlins.
No.
Okay.
Although I didn't know that was a Christmas movie
wow,
until
that's
today.
the debate about all this, right?
Well, I searched Christmas movies today to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Gremlins came up. I was like, that's a Christmas movie?
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
It's a movie that has Christmas in it.
There you go. Okay.
I've not seen Die Hard.
Okay.
Can I be honest with you?
Yes.
Is this a safe place?
Yeah.
I don't care to see Die Hard. I think I watched like the third or fourth Die Hard.
All right.
Like I think that
we're gonna watch Die Hard one of these days. Okay.
I don't really care to.
We'll talk to the venerable Reverend Louis.
Yep.
And say, could we just one day on the screen Die Hard
before church?
Yeah.
Like before the service on the weekend?
No, not in the weekend. Just
Come on, why not?
During office time.
Hey man, if you're going in, go all the way in during office time.
During office hours.
Nah, during church service.
We'll watch Die Hard. Okay.
Okay. Well, maybe I might come. A quick couple of honorable mentions. First of all, Christmas TV episodes. Mm-hmm. Like so many of those. I just love Christmas TV episodes.
Yeah.
Community, The Office.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yes. I agree with you, actually, on
all
this.
Sorts of great Christmas movies.
They're all great.
Christmas TV episodes that you just got to respect.
Mm-hmm.
Also, A Christmas Carol with Jim Carrey. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Watched it last year. It was good.
Yeah.
I went to the theater in Thompson, of all places. I was living there at the time.
Yeah.
So I was working with your buddy Dan at the time, and it was -50 that night. And so my dad actually picked us up and drove us to the theater and then picked us up after.
Wow.
It was funny because like my vehicle wasn't starting that day.
Yeah.
But we it was a Saturday night. We wanted to
go
go, so we're like, we'll go do it, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Well, thanks Jordan for sharing your top 5, and thanks for listening to my top 5. I hope that the Red One or whatever that movie is horrible, and I hope you regret spending your money on it.
Well, we're gonna get back to this, I think, in a second. But
you think so? Okay,
we will.
I guess we'll see. Okay, so now it's time for In the Neighborhood.
In the Neighborhood.
So in the neighborhood this week,
yes.
What were we talking about?
Pastor Louis talked about pain this past weekend, and he talked about discipline.
Yeah.
And one of the points he made was choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. I found that's a profound point.
It is.
Because both have a degree of pain to them.
Yep.
It's tough to stay disciplined. It's tough to live disciplined, but it's also very difficult when you don't do that and then you live with regret.
Yes.
And that brings a different kind of pain.
Yeah.
But either way, you experience it in both. But living with discipline, I think, probably gets you closer towards your goals.
Yeah.
Than feeling regret, like I had a chance, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So
I think that we don't talk about fallout from our actions very holistically as Christians, in the sense that we talk about how if you do good, things will be good.
Yes.
But if you do bad, then things are bad. And it's a very juvenile way of looking at things in a lot of ways, right? I mean, on the whole, perhaps you could broadly assign that sort of thinking to life, where it's like if you live recklessly, you'll reap negative impacts, or but if you live serving people, then there will be positive. But the reality is that even when you live to serve people, like the gospel is very clear and Jesus' command is very clear that it's like the decisions that you have to make are a burden and it's work. Like you do have to carry something. Yeah. And that like difficulty isn't forbidden for Christians, but it's promised for Christians.
Yes.
And so like the idea that Louis was engaging with this weekend with, he said this phrase, choose your pain, which is interesting because it makes me think of like, I think that was like there's like an allusion to like torture in there. Choose your pain. I think that used to be like an ancient way of like making people choose how they would be harmed. And anyway, but choosing your pain to be, like the repercussions of your actions, there's going to be pain in life, but wouldn't you rather, face pain for doing the right things? Yeah. It's very interesting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He said discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most, right? So like it's one of those things of, do you care about what happens today, or do you care about the long-term goals that you set? It's interesting that he said choose your pain, because I've had a art on my phone for the last little while.
Yeah. Choose your hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's almost the same idea, choose your hard, right? Like, this is hard, choose your hard.
Yeah.
Right? And I read a poem once, a guy sent it to me, and it was pretty inspirational to me throughout the process of just this past year, and some different things that I put into place, and just kind of the little journey that I've kind of gone on. Mm-hmm. It's true that either way you choose, it's going to be hard, but you got to choose your hard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We don't have time to get all the way into this here today, mostly because it involves a whole lot of conversation just to set framework for it. But at the Young Adults a few weeks ago, we were talking about serving and talking about being slaves to God, and what that means and what it meant in Scripture and stuff, and like being a servant of God, being a slave to God, and how Jesus, when he actually asks us to follow him and to live the way that he wants us to live, he says that first of all, he promises us rest for our souls. Yeah. And, that's beautiful. But in the same sentence, he says, my burden is light, my yoke is easy. There's still a yoke and a burden, and the fact that he's offering us something that's better is the point, right? The fact that we'll find rest with him. Yeah. We won't just be toiling in the world for no reason. There'll be a purpose to the pain, I think is the big thing that comes out of there, and the fact that he's with us in it. So that was the thing that really brought that back to me, is the idea that, like, we're slaves to Christ if you follow Jesus. Like, you are, it's not about your will. It's not about, but we understand that there's a greater will and purpose, and there's fulfillment in it, but it's hard.
And some of it's difficult.
It's not easy. Yeah.
One of the most honest sermon series I remember listening to, like, this 15 years ago. I can't even remember who preached it, but the series was called Jesus is Difficult. Yeah. And it was 4 parts on some of the difficult demands that Christ makes upon our life. And we can't overlook that stuff. Like, it's there, right? Like, I think in some ways, sometimes we like to gravitate towards a talk that is a little bit more like, how do I say it? Like happy. Yeah. But one of the things Louis said is what do you need to choose now to achieve what you want most? And it's this idea of priorities, I think, is kind of where he was going, right? Yeah. And when you follow Christ, you need to, like you said, if you're a slave to Christ, you prioritize the things of the kingdom. And that's not always easy. No. It can be tough to do.
Yeah, because the good news isn't easy news, right? Yeah. It's actually a challenge. But lots of people love to look at what Jesus says when he fulfills the law with what he does in his ministry. And in the Gospels, you see him say things like, particularly at the beginning of his ministry in Matthew, where he starts saying, like, you've heard it said, an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, and every time he says, like, you've heard this is the law, this is what you all assume you would know, but I say, lots of times as modern Christians, we think, like, I like that better, because that sounds easier, that's nicer. Yeah. But he's actually upping the ante.
He deepens it.
Yeah. He's actually saying, like, that's not enough. No, like, he's saying you got to work harder than just these external things. Don't wait for anger to be outside of you. It's wrong for anger to be inside of you. Yeah. And so he, or hate, I should say, inside of you. But, it's I think that's a great challenge, even, that ties in with that, with what Louis was saying, which is, like, Jesus doesn't actually, so far away from promising us anything easy. He challenges us. Yeah. And that's what we need. That's what we should want. And that's actually what's better. And if we choose our hard, or choose your pain, like, you actually recognize that it's worth it, though. Like, it's for something, right?
Yeah. The thing that you brought there up is so pertinent, because Jesus didn't just want our actions, he wants our hearts, right? Yeah. And so by deepening the commandment, it's like you said, it's not just don't actually physically hurt someone, but don't even allow the emotions that could lead you there to harbor inside your heart, right? Yeah. And it's much deeper. And it's a discipline to go to him and to ask for his help, and to sometimes choose, like he said a couple things, choose the way of forgiveness. Like, that's not always easy. Yep. Right? Choose the ability to live in community. Sometimes community stretches us. Yep. And especially when people see things way differently than you do, right? Yeah. And there's an opportunity there to either live in harmony despite those differences, or just fight, right? So there's definitely discipline that goes into living for Christ. And sometimes we don't like that word discipline, because I think as kids we hear it as like, oh, I got in trouble.
You got spanked or slap on the wrist.
Exactly, right? We see it that way, right? But really, discipline is just, choosing something greater over something that's less in some ways, right? Like choosing to focus on what's most important, prioritizing in a sense.
Yeah.
So
we have physical disciplines.
Yeah.
We have mental disciplines. We have spiritual disciplines, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting just to think about another thing that Jesus says at the beginning of his ministry in Matthew chapter, I think it's 6, where he talks about, the easy path or the obvious path oftentimes isn't the right path. Yeah. Because it'll end up perpetuating the cycles of the way things are around you. So when he comes to flip everything upside down, to invert things, so the powerful aren't the most important, the weak and the servants are the most important, the last will be first. Like all of this stuff he talks about where everything's going to get flipped upside down in what he's establishing, which is the church, like us. When he establishes that, he points out a few examples of how there'd be an easier, obvious path, like getting slapped in the face. It's like, well, slap them back, right? It's like that's how the world would work. That's what you're allowed to do, actually. Like at the time, that was acceptable, whatever. But he talks about how there's like creative and constructive ways to stop cycles of destruction. Because if we just do the easy thing, the cycles of destruction are allowed to be perpetuated rather than actually terminating them and starting something new. That's hard. That's pain, is actually absorbing the sin of people around you, like absorbing the fact that people around you are missing the mark so that you can then put an end to it. You become like the martyr of the situation. You become the Christ of the situation. And you absorb it so that you can make a new start to something. That's painful.
Oh, for sure.
It's not easy to do. You think about your families and your relationships, absorbing the pain and the harm and the wrongdoing so that you can say, you know what, an end to this cycle of destructive behavior, and I'm going to make a creative choice and a constructive choice to like elevate Christ,
It's tough, yeah.
It's hard.
You're making me think of something Dallas Willard used to say in his writings. He was lecturing a class once, and somebody got up and just chewed him right out, right? And he didn't respond back. He just acknowledged the guy's comment and then just ended the class. And so a student went up to him afterwards and said, "So why didn't you say anything back?" And he said, "Well, I'm learning the art of not having to get the last word in." And to me, that's the Christ-like behavior that sometimes you just have to take it and make a decision that even though you have the right to respond, do this, but you want to bring peace to it. It's a difficult decision to make, right, in order to get there. So when you were talking about that, you made me think of Willard's words. Yeah.
And those are challenging words to live by, actually.
As very much so.
Everything that Jesus told us to do.
100%.
There's a lot of good news in the good news of Jesus, but the good news isn't easy news, I think. So we gotta choose what we're gonna fight for. We're gonna choose what's gonna be painful.
Good stuff.
Good talk about In the Neighborhood. Thank you, Pastor Louis, for challenging us once again from God's Word. Appreciate having a lead pastor who's going to dive into those tough subjects with us. So it makes us better. Well, that's been In the Neighborhood. Now it's time for your feedback. How about you?
How about you?
How about those Blue Jays?
I'm glad you said Blue Jays and not Blue Bombers.
Really?
Yeah.
That used to be a saying. Did you ever hear that?
Still kind of an open wound here for the latter. So.
Oh, why?
They lost the Grey Cup for the third time in a row.
Oh, okay. Who won?
Toronto. They always beat
us. Really?
Argonauts, yeah.
When's the last time Toronto won the Grey Cup? Is it always?
2 years ago against the Bombers.
And previous to that?
Probably against the Bombers. They're 9-0 against the Bombers in Grey Cups.
Wow.
So this year I went into it thinking like,
I thought the
we're going to break the cycle. It's going to happen because
Really?
our team was playing so good.
Yeah.
And nope, our quarterback got hurt. It was a 1-point game in the fourth quarter. Then he got hurt, and then it all went downhill.
You should have pulled a Saskatchewan and got an extra guy on the field. Probably could have won.
Maybe.
Is that an old reference? That's the only sports reference.
That's a beautiful moment for me.
Yes. You liked it as a Winnipeg fan?
I don't cheer for Saskatchewan, so that's a beautiful moment for me.
You like that a lot. Yeah, okay.
So,
right. Well, happy that you're having a a moment, Jordan. I'm glad we could facilitate that for you.
I was looking down, and then you brought up the 13th man, and I'm like, thank you, Ethan. That's all I needed. That's all I needed to remind me of the good things in life. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's look at some of the feedback from last week.
Yeah.
It was great to see you and Ashley together in the hosting chairs.
It was fun.
I think everybody probably would agree that it'd be nice to see Ashley a couple more times.
I think so.
I think it'd be nice to have happen. So,
I'm all for it.
Leave a comment if you'd like to have Ashley back.
Yes.
Go ahead and let us know,
please.
And then we have empirical evidence so that we can twist her arm into it. So,
that's right.
Okay, how about you? We had a couple comments about. Do you want to read these? Do you want to get into them?
I'll go through. Yeah, we talked about Advent devotionals, and we just threw out some ideas of things that we go through to kind of prep our hearts for the Advent season. And Elaine wrote in here, this Advent devotional combines artwork and thoughtful writings. I didn't quite make it through this book, but I really appreciate it. And the book is written by Bette Dickinson. It's called Making Room in Advent, 25 Devotions for a Season in Wonder. And I peeked through it. And I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah?
It's got like some art and stuff, and it's got like just some... Wonder is probably the word here, calling it Season of Wonder, but it's one that I have not heard of before, so thank you so much for bringing that up, and I'm going to take a look into that. So nice. I like Advent devotionals. They kind of keep me focused on the season. Even this morning, I started my first one. Because the Dietrich Bonhoeffer's book starts at the earliest day Advent can start. So even though this year it's not starting until December 1st, it can start as early as November 27th.
Yeah.
So today, his book is written in a sense that it starts at the 27th.
Yeah.
So
I really appreciate church calendar things in general.
Yeah.
Spiritual habits.
Rhythms, yeah.
They encourage us in our, wait for it,
Agreed.
Our disciplines.
Agreed. Want to get into this next comment?
Call back. Yeah, absolutely. You read it.
I like that callback. It's all clicking in now. Thank you for that. So this next comment was sent in saying, I haven't started Christmas music yet, but I have done a couple Christmas movies.
Interesting.
So here we go, Ethan.
Seems a little bit backwards.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Last weekend, I saw Red One in theaters and then watched Fred Claus at home.
Oh, Fred Claus.
So Fred Claus was interesting. That was been fun, eh?
Yeah.
So I went to the theater in Thompson for that one too.
Really?
When I was living up there.
Dude, the theater in Thompson is the host of all of your Christmas endeavors.
It's such a sketchy little location, but it brings such joy at the holidays,
right? I never went to the theater in Thompson.
There's a reason why you never went. There's a reason why you never went.
Because it was close?
Maybe. They show one movie a week, but I remember thinking Fred Claus was okay. I'm going to have to check it out. It's been years. I haven't watched it in about probably 10 years.
Hey, Jordan?
But
you should check it out.
I will. Red One I'm going to check out, though. What about you?
Okay.
What about
Honestly, I 100% won't watch it in theaters.
Okay.
Next year, Christmas time, maybe.
You'll check it out. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. But you're not
just out of curiosity. Depends.
You're not spending what's the theater cost now? $15? You're not spending $15 to go see it?
It costs $15 if you go to Landmark or something.
It's
like $20 if you're just going to Scotiabank.
I usually just buy those Costco passes. I find they're a little bit better.
You know what? So. You and everybody else who has a Costco card, you guys just keep on bringing up everything that you do from Costco. And I don't have a Costco card, man. So everybody's always like, wait, you spend...
Is that why you eye roll me so
much? Spend that much on chicken? And I'm like, dude, but you guys are always bringing it up. It's like if you're vegan or you do CrossFit or you have a Costco card. You know what I mean?
I struggled to get the Costco card. It was Nick who really made the push for it. But I've enjoyed it since. I have to say that.
I'm happy for you.
But at first I didn't want to do it.
I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, thank you. I can see the love in your eyes here. Yeah.
I'm choosing my pain, and I'm choosing to absorb the harm of your insult right now.
You're living out PLH's message here.
I'm living it out.
Or Jesus is really.
You know what? That's right.
So
yeah, let's reassign the gospel to Louis. Let's say that's his message.
You know what? I'm moving on. I'm going to comment back on Red One that I am going to see it, and I'll leave a comment to the comment of what I thought of it.
Comment to the comment.
Yeah.
Will you?
Comment. Yeah, I will.
Okay, looking forward to seeing
I'll come
that.
back to it. So I don't know. I saw it come out, and I'm like, yeah, we'll go check this out.
Okay.
It'd be interesting.
You should just watch Harry Potter instead.
Maybe.
It's Christmas.
I've never seen it.
Every single movie has a Christmas part to it.
That's what you were saying. Yeah. Do you consider them Christmas movies?
No, but they have Christmas in it. It's like Die Hard.
And it's kind of like you could watch it then because it would still be appropriate then, right? Like there would be something that would kind of...
Big time.
Yeah.
You can watch them anytime.
There's a lot of movies like that. Die Hard's a big one. Gremlins was the other one. That's why I brought it up because it has a Christmas like a time to it.
Yeah.
So Just Friends, Ryan Reynolds and Amy Smart. That's got a Christmas timeline to it.
Not seen that.
No. But yeah, let us know what your favorite Christmas movies are. Did our lists... Do we cover everything? Do we miss something major? I'm sure there's someone who thinks that we missed something incredible. We did say Elf, so
also let us know.
Grace on that. So
that's right, absolutely. Yeah. Don't bring up Elf. Yeah. We get it. We get that there's people that love Elf.
We get that Elf's good. Yeah.
That's a lot of people's number one.
No, for sure it is.
I'm glad that me and you.
I can't go that far. I can't that's getting overboard, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's top 20.
Yeah. I'm silently hoping it's Ashley's favorite. So as I say this, no.
Ashley, what is your favorite? She said it's number 5. Elf is number 5. It's in the 5.
In the 5.
In the 5.
Okay.
But I watch it every year with my mom, so like that's.
Oh, she watches it with her mom every year. That's nice.
Awesome. I like that.
That is very nice.
So yeah.
Okay, we got to be done, man.
Remember when year 1 used to be Prancer back in the day?
Yeah, I remember that.
I just want the audience to know that.
Yeah.
That at one point you had an affinity for Prancer.
The funny thing is, I don't even know what that is. I don't think I've ever even heard of that. We need to be done, man.
Check it out.
We've been talking for way too long.
Let us know what you think of Prancer, and we're heading out for lunch.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Yeah.
Back next time for episode number 25. You got it?
Yeah, 25.
See you later.
Bye.
Unedited is a ministry expression of the Neighbourhood Church. Hosted by Ethan Andrews and Jordan McClellan. Produced by Ashley Drayton. Voiceover by me, M. Curry. Watch us on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. Or listen on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Thanks for listening.